What's up, guys? So we got a question from Craig, who's 6'2", 205 pounds, and he's having this issue where when he rolls with the smaller, weaker white belts in his gym, he doesn't know how to deal with them, right? Because he says when he rolls with the higher belts, he can go hard, he can nip at their heels, and he can push himself, right? But when he goes with the smaller, weaker people, the people he can just like smash up every single time he rolls with them, he's not sure how to go about it because he doesn't want to be a dick to people needlessly. He doesn't want to just smash people that have no chance, but at the same time, he wants to get better. And so he's not sure how to balance the two. So Craig, first off, thanks for the question, brother. And from my experience, I think that you can get a lot of value rolling with these smaller, weaker people in your gym, people that you can smash, right? Like in your question, the way that you had worded it, I felt like you believe that the only way that you can get better at jiu-jitsu is if you go hard, like all the time, right? And I don't agree with that. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Now, you definitely have to go hard sometimes, and I'll talk about, that in a second, but there can be a lot of benefit rolling with people that, if you were to use your A game, don't stand a chance against you. Now, this comes from my experience. There was a point where I was a black belt, like a brand new black belt. This is, 2011. And in my gym, the bulk of my training partners, like 99% of them were white and blue belts. Occasionally I'd have a black belt. Occasionally I'd have a purple belt or someone to roll with. But for the most part, I was always rolling with white and blue belts, trying to get ready for black belt tournaments. When I would roll with my white and blue belts at the time, if I put my smash game on, my A game on, they didn't move. So what I would do is to get some skill gain, right? Because to me, I wouldn't get much out of that, right? I would play with other positions and other techniques. I would play very deliberately. This is kind of tough to do because you have to put a lot of concentration and focus on your game. It can't be as simply like a day where you walk into the gym, you turn your brain off and just go hard. It has to be a day where you walk in and you step on the mat and you have objectives to hit. I'm going for this sweep, this submission, this whatever it might be. And so even right now, I still do this to this day, and I find it very beneficial. Like right now, when I'm rolling with my students, I told them all this like the last couple of days. I'm like, listen, guys, I'm only going for submissions off the bottom because it's one of my weaker areas. And what this is doing is I'm telling them, these are the submissions I'm going to be going for from the bottom, just letting you know so that if we roll, you can help stop them, which is going to make me better. And back in the day, I would do this. I would be like, I'm attacking wrist locks. I'm doing this, or I'm doing this position, or whatever it is. And I'm focusing on something for a prolonged period of time. Typically, it was things in my game that needed a little work. And by sort of playing a weaker position, I sort of let them, I level it out a little bit. So this way we can kind of play against each other. It's a lot more fun for me personally, and it's a lot more engaging for them. And I actually get a good workout out of it. One way that I used to get really good, like a good workout, training with my less experienced students, was when the timer would hit about 3 minutes, right? When it would hit about 3 minutes, I would then make my objective no longer to win or lose, but just don't stop moving, right? Basically keep scrambles going and just bounce all over the place. I did this because I wanted to be faster. And most big guys, 200 plus, every one of them can squeeze and smash, but not every one of them can move, right? And I wanted to have that movement ability because you don't see that very often from big guys. And so I developed that movement ability. And I remember even going to a tournament less than a year later after sort of starting this process off, where I went against a guy, and afterwards, after I beat him, he said, "Man, you move so much. Like, what do you do to develop that?" And I told him, I was like, "Man, I just roll with my students and I don't stop moving." So I could go down the list of examples for a long time, but you get the idea. I think I get way more out of rolling with these people by playing in different positions and things that I'm weaker at, or just doing something different than my A game and going hard all the time, right? I get more out of the roll, and they do too. Right? They're not discouraged as much because they actually get to play a bit, and I actually get something out of it rather than just smashing them. Now, there is a time where you need to put the smash on someone. You need to put that intensity on them. Absolutely. You have to have those training sessions. But I don't think, especially early on, it doesn't have to be the case. And I know I'll probably catch some flack for this video because I always do when I tell people, when I sort of share my viewpoint on the idea that you shouldn't smash the weaker, smaller people in your gym needlessly. Because I think people have been sort of hit over the head to think that the only way you get better at jiu-jitsu is to just go hard all the time, right? And that's not necessarily the case. There's no other sport that shares that idea, right? Most of the time, there's some methodology and sort of thought process as to ramping up the intensity level, building people up and then getting them up to that point where then they can go hard, right? But jiu-jitsu, for the most part, you see these gyms, and I was a part of it when I first started. You would take these brand new guys and you're like, "Hey man, here's how to do an armbar. Cool. You just learned how to do an armbar. Fantastic. Are you ready to do a full roll from the feet?" And they're like, "Well, what's that?" "Ready?" Slap hands and go. Boom. And they get slammed to get their arm broken because they don't know how to break fall, and they post on their arm. I mean, there's terrible stories like that. And I think that there's a much better way to develop people in a smooth way, right? Giving them the fundamentals and building them up slowly. And I can tell you that the benefit of this is that after you get done building these people up, you got a great training partner. Like my students that were white and blue belts that I had to kind of take it easy on a little bit. Now if I try to take it easy on them, they put the smash on me, right? So I built these guys up, and now if I take it easy or if I'm not watching it, they'll catch me and stuff. It's fantastic. I've got great training partners now that I have to go hard against. And so it's a win-win. You're building people up, you're building up yourself, and you'll get more out of those roles. So I think that the message is clear. I think the point is clear in this video. I'm a little hyper today. I just drank some coffee. So, but the idea, Craig, is to ease up on your A game against those smaller, weaker people. Play a position or something that you need to work on. Have a deliberate goal when you're rolling with them, right? Not just smash them, right? Unless you're getting ready for a tournament and you need to tighten up your game, which is it might be the case. And then allow yourself to build up those new weapons. So this way, when you're rolling with the higher belts, you use whatever you're going to use. When you're rolling with these weaker people, the people you can crush, just play something different. Have a B game and work on that B game and work on that. You're a bigger guy, so maybe the bottom game would be beneficial. I don't know if you play a lot of bottom game, but if you don't, maybe play bottom game on the smaller people. So. The video's long enough. So Craig, thank you so much for the question, brother. And I'll talk to you guys next time.